What's the best thing about the US? Amazing landscapes, best constitution, great cities, different cultures. As someone who recently moved here from abroad to make our new lives here, we aren't treated as expats, immigrants, others. We are home. Thank you, America, for accepting and welcoming us with wide open arms and hearts. This is so sincere, lyrical, and poetic, it actually for reals made me tear up a little bit. It channels Walt Whitman and Aaron Copland for me. A nation is a tapestry of myths and the people who see themselves in it. America, of all the tapestries around, makes it easiest for those born elsewhere to find themselves in its weave, and to contribute their own threads going forward. Memes, in the original sense, might be more accurate than myths, but myths is so much more poetic. I beg people to get off Reddit and actually spend time in their neighborhoods or actually talk to people. Americans are incredibly resilient, hard-working people who always want to see improvement. We know we're not perfect, but FFS, the smallest story about America bad, will flood the front page, and anything seen as success is treated as the ills of capitalism and America. If you visit any American city, you'll see that it's very progressive, and people are happy, polite, and want everyone to be who they are. It's easy to get trapped in the clickbait headlines, but remember that Reddit is a big karma farm and doesn't reflect real life. I came from a very poor upbringing, a large urban public school, and was able to graduate college and create a pretty comfortable life for myself. I'm not rich by any means, but my life is pretty good. I don't think I could have had this life if I lived in other parts of the world. Visit an American park on a Saturday. At least where I live you'll find diversity, natural resources, friendly people, families, and no judgment. We're not what the extreme right wants us to be, and we never will. We don't wait for the government to do something for us. If we want something, we build it. And if people like it, they support it. You can't stop an ambitious American. I'll kindly accept your downvotes now. This is a good post. Reddit is hilariously bad at painting an accurate picture of the United States. I've lived in the US now for longer than I've lived in Germany. You guys have it fucking great here. Stop letting sad Redditors and righteous EU brothers, who will never try understanding the differences between living in a small European country and the US, the size of that whole continent, try to convince you otherwise. Once you get off of Reddit and gain some perspective, it's very easy to see that being born in the US is a winning lottery ticket. The people, scenery, diversity of culture, ease of access to the entire country are entirely unmatched. It's still fun to blame Republicans, the government, and capitalism for every inconvenience in my life, and I will continue to do so, lol, but I thought we were aware that the problems we face are very first world problems. The biggest issue you'll see is healthcare, which I'm gonna be honest with you, isn't a problem for the majority of Americans on a daily basis. I make an extra $36K for the same job just for being in America, which would be more than enough to pay for the difference in healthcare cost when I moved over here. The thing is, my employer also pays 100% of all of my insurance premiums, so win-win? Just take a look around and see how much good is in the communities around you. If you really want to feel grateful, have a conversation with someone like me who moved to the US from a different country, and they will tell you all the things they love about our home. What an amazing take that more of Reddit needs to see. If you visit any American city, you'll see that it's very progressive, and people are happy, polite, and want everyone to be who they are. I would like to add to this that even in the poor rural American South, where I grew up, people are polite and hospitality is extremely important. Reddit would have you believe that leaving the city limits puts you at severe risk of a hate crime. Spoiler, it doesn't. Get out there and meet people that don't look like you and don't live like you. You will be surprised just how much you have in common, and that human decency and goodness does not exist in only a certain group or environment or lifestyle. I beg people to get off Reddit and actually spend time in their neighborhoods or actually talk to people. I hope people know that Reddit is not real life. Or all social media in general, it's literally designed to make you angry. The way people talk about America, you would almost have to assume they've never found Waldo and only looked at one character on the first page in a little corner before writing off the whole damn book. If you visit any American city, you'll see that it's very progressive, and people are happy, polite, and want everyone to be who they are. I honestly found a lot of European cities shockingly conservative. Last year I was in London and someone called a man wearing nail polish a slur. I cannot imagine hearing that in New York, LA, or Chicago. I work in a multicultural environment with mixed races and sex, all being professional and kind to each other. We all get along fine and are even fond of weekend get-togethers. If you only watch the news/social media, you would think all Americans are knives out and at each other's throats. Not only is no country anywhere close to as diverse as America, but no one does diversity as good as America. Waiting on the European with a 90% white demographic try to lecture me on how they do it better. I really like the diversity in this country. How anyone can be an American. And you have no idea who is American and who is not. That's my favorite thing. You have no idea who is just sightseeing, who is visiting family, who is here on a student visa versus who is actually American. So, until someone says otherwise, we are going to assume you are American. Doesn't matter how thick your accent is. Doesn't matter how you dress. You are American until otherwise noticed. Also, I love how quickly we adopt things from our immigrants and declare it American. It's like, what are you eating? Is it delicious? Let me try some of that. Oh, God, this is delicious. Go open up a restaurant. More people should be eating this. And now it's part of the American fabric. I love how the American tongue is such a mud language. How quickly we adapt non-English words and more often than not pronounce them how they would be pronounced in their native tongue. We don't try make them more English like the way the French will French up foreign words. I like how it's easy to correct an American by saying, it's actually pronounced this way. And they will have a go at trying to say it correctly rather than huff and puff and try to make you change the way you say it. Language is so adaptable here. It's far more forgiving than other languages. You can butcher it up here and as long as we understand the idea of what you are trying to convey, you will get a pass. I think it's why it is such a juggernaut on a global stage. Yes, we have language rules but the native speakers will mostly ignore them in order to communicate better. My neighbor is a Republican mechanic and I'm a lefty computer scientist, but we talk to each other over our fences when we let our dogs out and lend each other tools all the time. Hell, he gave me a key to his garage and said I can take whatever I want, just leave a note with what I took so he knows where it is when he can't find it. I have pretty much the same thoughts on the English language. Many people get mad that English is spoken by so many, but it is in part because the language is forgiving. I am learning French and German. German is not forgiving. They always make me switch to English. French I do not know, haven't tried speaking it to a native speaker yet. One statement you made is my favorite part of the US. You can move to Japan, completely go through the steps to naturalize as a citizen, but you'll never be considered Japanese. That's not the case in the US. You come here, become a citizen, you are an American. Hell yeah, we used to brag about our diversity and being a melting pot of the world. We should be proud of our immigrants and greet everyone who wants to be free with open arms. 100% this. We often fall short of the ideal of give me your tired, give me your poor huddled masses, but when we do get it right and we truly welcome everyone with open arms, we are absolutely at our best, and it's glorious to see. Also, I love how quickly we adopt things from our immigrants and declare it American. It's like, what are you eating? Is it delicious? Let me try some of that. Oh, God, this is delicious. Go open up a restaurant. More people should be eating this. And now it's part of the American fabric. I might be reading too much into it, but I've always felt like food snobbery is a bit anti-immigrant. When people say, oh, that's not real Chinese, they make it sound like it's some hollow imitation made by ignorant Americans trying to mimic a foreign culture they didn't understand, but the reality is most Americanized versions of foreign foods are dishes made by immigrants who adapted their traditional recipes to the ingredients available in a new land. Spaghetti and meatballs, for example, is a uniquely American dish. In Italy only the rich could afford meat, the poor just ate pasta. When poor Italians came to America, they found they were able to afford meat for the first time, so they started adding it to their traditionally meatless dishes, resulting in new forms of Italian-American cuisine. I find these fusion dishes fascinating, and often delicious. I love how the American tongue is such a mud language. This is the most frustrating thing for me when people complain that English is so hard because the rules are so inconsistent. That's a feature, not a bug. Like, if you're a native Spanish speaker trying to learn English, and you can't remember the English word for the thing you're trying to say. Fuck it, use the Spanish word, that's English now too. There are assholes everywhere, but in general English speakers aren't pedants. If you pronounce something incorrectly and they decide to let you know, they're usually just trying to help. Most people will just move on as long as they understand what you're trying to say. Worst case, they laugh a bit, but it's a laugh at the novelty of your mistake, not at the fact that you made one. I was talking to an Indian parent at my kid's school and they used American instead of white and it was really jarring. I said something like, I'm not sure about your citizenship, but your kid is American too.